students, welcome back. Again, I'm here with that chapter 8, Fire, Friend and Foe, and I'm sure you had gone through the last video and you came to know all about that fire. In early days, people, how they were using fire, how they are creating fire, striking stones to each other, and previously they were not knowing what is that fire, so because of that they were afraid of it, right? And we people know what is fire and what are the reasons and how what are the things are responsible to create fire, that also we know. And without oxygen it's not possible to create fire. As there are ways to create fire, there are ways to put out fire also, right? Now in this video we'll come to know some different thing, and just make sure that this fire cannot be a foe, means enemy. It's friend if it is under control, and if it is not under control it could be called as foe. But we know how to control, so it's always beneficial, and we should know how to use fire, right? The second way of putting out a fire, first way you came to know how, and the second way to putting out a fire is to prevent oxygen from reaching it. No supply oxygen means no fire. Small fires can be put out or smothered with a damp blanket or a sack. So we should just prevent oxygen from reaching it. Oxygen, we know, oxygen, without oxygen it cannot be created, so we should prevent oxygen from reaching it, right? And oxygen should not be there, then fire will not be there. And next, that the third one is that damp blanket. We use damp gila blanket, right, or sack. This stops oxygen reaching the burning material. Sometimes carbon dioxide is used to extinguish fire. You can see in our school also that oxygen that extinguish carbon dioxide cylinder is there to extinguish fire, right, to put out fire. It does not allow oxygen to reach the burning materials, so it helps to not to reach oxygen near the burning material, right? So this way also we can put out fire. The third way of putting out a fire is to remove the heat. If the temperature can be brought down below the flash point, I told all objects of fuel has its own temperature, right? So if we brought down below the flash point, then it is not possible to burn. Okay, this way also we can save burning, or we can put out burning. The fuel stops burning. Now you blow on a burning matchsticks or a candle to put out it. In doing so you remove the hot air around the flame, bringing down its temperature. So when we are blowing, sometimes we are using blowing, or we blow to put out the candle. Why? Because we are cooling down the temperature, and this way it's possible to put out, right? Now, and sometimes water is sprayed on a fire. It absorbs heat from the burning fuel and lowers the temperature. The blanket of water also cuts off the supply of oxygen, and the fire is extinguished. Okay, so this way also we can put out. Some fires cannot be put out with water. If water is sprayed onto an oil fire, then it is not possible. The oil will float on the top of the water and continue to burn. This can be very dangerous because water can flow quickly, carrying the burning oil with it and spreading the fire. Water should also not be used on fire caused by electrical appliances. The person spraying water might receive an electric shock and be killed. Carbon dioxide extinguishers is the are the or is the whatever it is, extinguisher is the best thing fight an electrical fire. So when there is an electrical fire, it is not possible to put out throwing or spraying water. That time it should not be. And if water carries oil, then that time also it's not possible to put out fire so easily. So because water is, oil is very dangerous. Oil burns fast, and if it is with water, water flows very fast, and along with that oil will also go, and oil it's very dangerous for catching fire, right? We spend millions of rupees each year in lighting fires, and we spend more trying to find new ways to preventing fires from happening and getting out of control. On the whole, we have learned rather well to control fire, put it to good use in our everyday life. Long ago, there were no firemen. So we now, because of new technologies, we know many things, how to use fire, how to control fire, and how to make maximum use of fire. So we can control, we can stop firing, we can stop dangerous situation, we can handle it properly. And we have that firefighters also, fire brigades also, but in early days there were no firemen, there were no firefighters also, so that time it was dangerous. But now it's not so dangerous, but if it is something dangerous, then it is obviously it will be destructive. Nothing can be happen, right? When fire broke out, everybody became a firefighter. People formed human chains. They still do it if required, and passed buckets of water from a well or a pond to the blaze. Now there are laws about building construction which ensure that space is left between buildings to reduce fire risk, right? Every new building, especially a public place, must ensure observance of fire prevention norms. So in early days, people they use like that, if fire uh, caught somewhere, say human chain, they used to make human chain carrying or passing buckets one after one, and this way they were using water to put out fire. And nowadays it's in law कि builders, if they are constructing buildings, any constructive work they are doing, they have to keep space for that to observance of fire prevention norms. Okay, otherwise they will not be allowed, or they will be sent to jail also. So these things they have to follow while they are constructing buildings. It should be fireproof also, right? Of firefighting, okay, bands of firefighting workers with special equipment known as fire equipment brigades, you know, that are there to put out fires. Firefighters are highly trained people. They possess many skills. They cut off electricity supply, knock down dangerous walls, spray water and other materials to bring fire under control. So nowadays we are having firefighters, fire brigades and fire equipments. So this way they can control fire, and this way we are very safe, we can say. And they can cut off, how to electric supply cut off. They know how to manage, how to control fire. Okay, and they are also trained in first aid also. If people get had that injury and all, they know first aid also. They are trained for first aid also, suffering from burns or from effects of smoke. So they are firefighters are very trained people at first aid also. So this way we are getting help from these people and we are safe. The discovery of fire and its uses helped early men to cope with nature better and gradually adopted a settled mode of fire. Fire is still worshipped in many parts of the world. Fire is indeed a friend, but as we know, it can be a dangerous enemy once it gets out of control. So, people, early men, they slowly they discovered what are the uses of fire and how it creates. So this way they are also started knowing, and they know the uses of fire. So because of that, they started adopting fire, and they started make they started use how to use. Okay, and use they started using fire for making their food and for other things also. And if it is not in our control, then obviously it will be a foe, enemy. So as we know everything, how to control, how to manage, so it's obviously should be a friend, and this way only will handle, so that it could be called fire as a friend, right? So this much only, hope you understood. Thank you so much.